Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Brew. Today we have a really awesome episode. We are with Mike here at Crazy Uncle Mike's. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
So, Mike, tell me, this is a beer channel. How'd you get started in beer?
Well, I've been drinking beer for a long, long time. But I've always been in the entertainment business of restaurants and nightclubs and bars and music. And so we were looking at doing an operation in Boca, and we were looking at different things that were needed in the market.
Okay.
And one thing we didn't see was any brew pubs. And
okay.
So I basically learned more about the brewing end of it at that point in 2017.
Okay.
And met the guys at Nobo Brewery, Tim and Steve, and they were gracious enough to kind of teach me the lingo and let me come over there and let me come over there and clean their tanks a few times and pretend like I was brewing and learned a little bit and enjoyed it and kind of got to know some of the people in the industry. So I would say that Tim and Steve introduced me to people. They actually introduced me to our brewer, who is Corey Wilson, and he's an amazing brewer. He is a scientist. He knows the craft. It's so much fun to watch him and listen to him talk about it. And you can get an education just in a 15-minute conversation about beer with him, and you'll learn words that you've never heard before and understand what they mean by the time you're done too. So it's quite fun. But the best part of it is drinking it, and so I'm an expert at that end of the process. So I'm fortunate to now get to drink all different kinds of beers as fresh as they can be. I get to taste them as they're being, going from wort into beer, and as the process is happening, as the yeast is taking over, I get to sample it in all different time frames, and it's really nice to see the process go from a grain to a glass and the smile, so it's really cool.
I like it. So what's your favorite kind of beer to either drink, make? Are they the same?
I think that I don't know if I can have a favorite. I drink more Pilsner than anything else when I drink beer, but I love drinking a little bit of all of them. It's kind of like wines. You get to go on a little tour of styles and genres of beers, and now with mixing it with the food flavors and the sours and the things, it's really gotten to be interesting. And so for me, there's not a favorite. I do drink more Pilsner, but it's only because it's light. It's easy for me to have a couple of them without getting drunk, and I'm always at work, so I don't ever want to get too tipsy.
Gotcha. So one question I definitely wanted to ask, because of your name, the name of the restaurant, the name of the brewery is Crazy Uncle Mike's. You're Mike.
I am.
So it's not too not able to be understood why you're named that, but where'd you come up with your name?
I didn't. My nieces and nephews came up with the name when I was young, and I've always been a Harley riding, long-haired, bar-owning guy. So even when I was young, and I always thought I was kind of fun. I think my nieces and nephews thought I was kind of fun because I lived, a pretty free lifestyle in the sense of, riding motorcycles, owning bars and things like that. And I'd always show up to the Christmas parties and the Thanksgiving dinners with an entourage of guys on motorcycles and my friends and the
fun uncle.
So it was, and I was. I'd bring the party and the music and the DJs and the presents and the things like that. So
that's awesome.
I was a late father. I'm fortunate now to be the coolest job in the world as father. I love uncle too, but father's cooler.
Sure.
I was an uncle until my late 30s and early 40s, and so I have 22 nieces and nephews.
Wow, and you got to spread out the crazy to all 22 of them?
I was fortunately, I think I gave them all a little bit of it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So what is your best seller, and what am I drinking?
All right, you're drinking our standard IPA, which is called the Physical Graffiti. We try to name all of our beers off of some kind of a musical connotation. So, of course, Led Zeppelin. And it's got a cashmere hop, so cashmere and Physical Graffiti tied all together. But it's our New England IPA. It's probably one of our best sellers, actually.
Okay.
It's definitely in our stable that's always here. It's the one of our IPAs that we want to always have. We try not to run out. We have several other IPAs as well, but if you're talking about best sellers, I'd say our light beers are best sellers. A lot of breweries are tucked away in back industrial areas, and they're more about distribution than they are about actually the restaurant. So we're really a restaurant and a brewery, and food's a major element. In fact, it's more than half of our sales is food. So when we were on a main street, I was talking to our brewer about what we should specialize in. And, one of the things that we agreed on is that we're going to be a kind of a conversion brewery. We're going to convert Budweiser drinkers to craft beers because of our location, right?
That's true.
We're on the main street. We have a big sign. We are easy to be found. We also have live music on a regular basis, and we have great food. So there's a lot of reasons to find us, but once they find us, they come in, and if they try to order a domestic beer, which a lot of them do, we're able to offer them something that's way better, but in their wheelhouse. What they're looking for is a light, crisp, either ale or Pilsner. And we make, I think, the best Pilsner in Florida, but, it's self-proclaimed. Come taste for yourself, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. But Corey, again, is an amazing brewer, and our beer is rock solid, without question.
Can I order a Miller Lite here?
You cannot.
Okay.
I wouldn't sell their beer until they'll sell mine. So since I'm not distributing, I don't think I'll be able to do that anytime soon. So we only sell our beers or beers that we've collabed with other breweries, and we've done some collaborations with 26 Degrees down in Pompano, and we did one with Sweetwater as well at the beginning. We've done a few collabs, but it's our beer. It's what we make here, and we keep about a dozen on tap at a time. And right now we have 3 IPAs, we have a couple stouts, 1 barrel aged. We have a wit coming back out this week, which is one of our staple beers as well. So our main 5 beers are our Pilsner, which is called License to Pils. You know that License to Ill. Right?
Got it.
Okay, so then we have Physical Graffiti. Then we have Prestige Worldwide, which is our stout.
The Step Brothers movie.
Yeah, and then stout. That's our stout beer. And then White Riot is our wit. That's standard. And then Get the Red Out is our red ale. Okay. So those are typically always on, and then we try to always have a sour. And our sour right now is Strawberry Fields. It's really great little, I think it's a cheesecake, strawberry cheesecake flavored. It's really, really nice.
Do you say goose or goza?
Goza is the way that I say it, but I don't know how other people say it.
I don't either. I haven't figured it out yet what the right way to say it is.
And I don't know what's correct or wrong,
Oh, so however you want to say it.
Right.
You mentioned you have a lot of different great foods that are here.
Yep.
So tell me, how do you come up with your menu items?
In the same way that I did the beer, is I got an expert to run the kitchen named Tara Abrams, so I don't have to do it.
Okay.
I just let her create. It's her kitchen.
Fantastic.
And it's good.
What is your what's the most ordered item when people come in here for dinner?
Burger. We have an incredible burger, but I gotta tell you, there's nothing on the menu that isn't incredible. And so we have flatbreads and chicken wings and stuff, but she elevates all of it. She makes all the sauces. We have our own ketchup. We have everything's made here. From the mayonnaises to the ketchup, everything's is fresh.
All right. How do you book your entertainment?
A lot of bands we knew when we were opening through research and seeing who was doing what where, around the state. And then we built relationships now, and so when we have the bands that are returning on a regular basis, those are through the long-term relationships. And then we have introductions of the bands that like playing here that say, hey, these are our friends, and they'll do well here too. And so now it's just kind of an introduction. We book our own calendar here in-house, and it's an integral part of what the environment is. So I couldn't let a third party book the room because they didn't know what vibe we were looking for on a nightly basis. But we go from blues to reggae to rock, cover bands to some tribute bands and some original bands as well.
Okay. Who's playing tonight?
Tonight is a band called Crazy Train. They are probably the most popular of the bands that play here. They play cover rock from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and a lot of the ballad stuff that you can sing every word to.
Yeah.
And Jose's the lead singer, and he's, you know, a very attractive guy, and he sings amazing. That just his voice is, you know, like sounds exactly like the band he's covering. So he's very popular, and it's sold out tonight, actually. You know, we only have 80 seats available because of the restrictions that we have right now going on with the COVID virus, and so we sell tickets to every show and make sure that I can kind of choreograph the room so that way I stay inside of all the limitations that are put upon us and live inside the law, yet still have a nice event going on.
Fantastic. Can you go a little bit more into how the COVID restrictions have affected your business?
Well, you know, I think that my business and everybody in my business have had to adjust, you know, for regulations and ordinances or rules and, you know, new regulations that we have to abide by. Sometimes they change them weekly. But,
seems like
you
that.
know, it's look, you have to make the most of everything and look for opportunity in all of it, right? So the way I look at it is we can make a more intimate experience for our customers that choose to come here and stay in a safe environment but still want to go out. And so I think right now there's an advantage in a sense that, you know, you're not going to have, again, in the history that you can go to a place and see amazing live music with nobody standing up and everybody sitting and watching and enjoying it and absorbing live music for what it really is. And, you know, it's a very intimate experience today. So I think that we should, you know, embrace what we have, find ways to enjoy and turn, you know, lemons into lemonade, right? You know, I mean, it's really what we are supposed to do. You know, buying into all of the fear and all that, you just have to live inside of what's comfortable for you. And if you want to go out, this is a good choice because we do it limited spaces and you can enjoy a good show. So, you know, the restrictions have only affected us as much as we allow them to affect us. And then we live inside the rules and try to make fun of it anyway, you know.
Absolutely. So, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a moment ago that you guys are on a main road. You're on Federal Highway in Boca Raton. How'd you find this location?
Well, there's a big sign out front that said for lease. So I called the guy and talked to him, and it took us a long time to make a deal.
Okay.
But the building had great bones. It was rotten inside. It needed a lot more than I even thought it needed when I first came in.
What's the square footage?
The building's 8,600 square feet.
Okay.
And excuse me. So the remodel was extensive. We had to take it from front to back, take off the front of the building and really change it. But what we came up with and what we ended up with, I think, is a beautiful, you know, final room and comfortable and home-like, but yet still, you know, you're out and having a good time.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's a coziness to it.
That's great. Tell me about your brew setup.
We've got a Loewe brewing house. Loewe makes all the brew houses, ironically, for Budweiser around the world.
Oh, interesting.
And they used to only make the giant systems, the 200 barrel and bigger. And you need a freight liner to move it down the ocean. I mean, big systems. But they started going and taking their technology and putting it into smaller systems. Ours is a 10 barrel steam-driven brew house. It's fully automated. In comparison to what Nobo's system was to this, was a dramatic difference in the physical effort it takes to brew beer. This one's a much easier process. From a kettlage, I have four fermenting tanks. I have 3 10 barrel and 1 20 barrel. We always use the 20 barrel for our light beers because we go through it faster, as you're asking earlier.
Right.
So our Pilsner or our what is it called? Light My Fire.
Okay.
Which is our light blonde ale. Those 2 beers take turns in that 20 barrel.
Okay.
So we double batch, and because we're turning that so fast, we constantly have to make twice as much. So we have 12 handles, like I told you earlier, that come underground, and then we have a kegerator that has 3 more, so we can go up to 15 beers at a time.
That's awesome.
but very, very really effective little brew house.
That's awesome.
Really fun to watch
That's great.
Corey create in there.
How long has Corey been with you, since the beginning?
Before, yeah, he started. He was my very first staff member and executive on the team, and he started in January of 2018.
Okay.
But we started working together on the project in October of 17.
Okay.
And he started consulting with me in October and came on full board in January.
That's great. So tell us, Mike, how can we find you?
CrazyUncleMikes.com, Facebook Crazy Uncle Mikes, Instagram Crazy Uncle Mikes. We're out there. We're talking to you guys all the time. We're telling you what we're doing. We're trying to keep you up to date on our food, our beer, and our music.
Great. All right. Anything else you'd like to add today?
No. Just Saturday afternoon's a little rainy. Might be a good idea to come down here and have a beer.
Absolutely.
6450 North Federal Highway, Boca Raton.